Section 4.2 is on functions. We're going to spend 2 days on this, so day 1 is just the introduction. You can start by watching the Sneetches video. Here's the URL. You can go to YouTube and just type in Sneetches. We're going to watch that. We won't watch it in the podcast, but you can watch it, and you're just going to see how Sneetches are related to functions. Okay, so first of all, let's start with the definition of a function. So the definition of a function is for every input, there's only one output. So for every another way that your book defines it is that for every x, or for every independent variable, there's only one dependent variable. So for every x, only one y. All right, and if you watch the video, Sneetches are like functions because every Sneetch that goes in, there's only one that comes out. We're going to take a look at using functions in a couple different ways. Graphs, and we'll look at equations and solving equations. So here's an example of a function. Rachel's parents keep track of her height as she gets older. They plot these values on a graph and connect the points with a smooth curve. For every age you choose on the x-axis, there is only one height that pairs it with the y-axis. So that's what makes it a function. For every age, for any age that you pick, let me underline the important information. For every age, so for every age on the x-axis, there's only one height on the y-axis. Okay, so at each moment in time, you can only be one height. You can't be two heights. Okay, so Rachel's only one height at any specific time during her life. So any specific time, she can only be one height. So that is a function. For every moment in time, she is exactly one height. Here's another example of a function. We have iPhone sales in millions. So for each particular moment in time, you have one sales figure. So here's another graph of a function. And these are examples of things that are not functions. And the reason is if you pick any x value, there should only be one answer. So for example, if we were to pick this x value right here and then draw a line up, there's only one answer for that y value. But if you were to pick this x value right here, there's 3 answers for that x value, so this is not a function. Same with this one right here. For some, like if you were just to pick this x value right here, there's only one answer, the tangent line. But what if you pick this x value right here? And you can see there's like 2 answers on the circle, so these are not functions. Okay, one way to test if you have a graph is called the vertical line test. If you draw a vertical line anywhere in your function, that line should only cross your function once. If it meets it more than once anywhere in your graph, it means there's more than one answer for that x value, and so it is not a function. So if it passes the vertical line test, in other words, you draw a vertical line, and that vertical line touches your function only once at any given point, it is a function. These are examples of things that do not pass the vertical line test because there's more than one point for some of the values of x, so these are not functions. Okay, we have y equals 4 minus 2x as a function. Why? Well, think of what unit. It's linear. We have the y-intercept and we have a slope, so it makes a straight line. Okay, it might look something like this if we were to graph it. Our y-intercept is 4, and our slope is negative 2, so you go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. This is a function that might look like this, and it would pass the vertical line test. For every x value, there's only one y value. Okay, so again, it's a function for every x. There's only one y value. or passes the vertical line test, VLT you can call it, vertical line test. All right, function notation is something that you may or may not have seen before. Instead of writing y equals 4 minus 2x, we use different letters such as f or g or h or something, and we could say, all right, f of x equals 4 minus 2x, and that just means it's a function. It's the same as writing a y, but f of x just denotes that, okay, this is a function. F of x, and we say it's f of x equals 4 minus 2x. So find f of 5. What does that mean? You'll see that on your assignment. So f of 5 just means plug in a 5 for the x, substitution. 4 minus 2 times 5. So we say, all right, f of 5 equals 4 minus 10, or f of 5. Okay, it's the same as saying y equals negative 6, but we just have f of 5. Because we plugged in a 5, we got negative 6 for an answer. Let's do more examples of what you might see with function notation. All right, we have this function, f. And then again, they may use different letters instead of f, like g or h. Let's say if f of x equals negative 4 plus 5x, find f of negative 1. What does that mean? It means substitute a negative 1 in for x. So f of negative 1 equals negative 4 plus 5 times negative 1. That equals negative 4 minus 5, and that equals negative 9. So we say f of negative 1 equals negative 9. It means when I plugged in a negative 1, I got a negative 9. Right? Find f of 3. It means plug in a 3 for x. So f of 3 equals negative 4 plus 5 times 3. So f of 3 will be negative 4 plus 15. So f of 3 will be 11. And all that means is when I plugged in a 3, I got 11. It's just like saying y equals 11 or y equals negative 9. Just a different notation. All right, here's a different one. It says if f of x equals 51, find x. That really means, all right, y equals 51. Plug that in, solve for x. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 51, set it equal to negative 4 plus 5x. Now we're solving for x. Okay, so this is, again, substitution. We're plugging this in right here. We're solving for x. So you would add 4 to each side. You'd get 55 equals 5x. So x would be 11. Okay, so this is just plugging in for y this time, or for f of x. Okay, how do we use a graph to solve functions? All right, it's just reading a graph. So when I say, all right, find p of 25, so here's the function for pressure to get engaged at a certain age. P of 25, you find where your age, because here age is x, this is like saying p of x. All right, so when your age is 25, what is the answer? So we go up to 25, we go over, and we say, all right, the pressure to get engaged at 25 years old is 20%. What about P of 35? Okay, so go to 35, go up, go across, 60%. P of 45, all right, so find 45. Pressure at 45 looks like 40%. Okay, so here's just a basic intro of how to read functions, how to tell if something is a function or not, and how to use function equations to solve. So your assignment is the worksheet in the packet. It just is called for 2-day 1 worksheet. So do that for tomorrow.